Hello, everyone. We are now live for our Jumpstart with HoneyBook session. So I just want to make sure that everyone could hear me just fine. Just let me know that you can hear me just fine inside of the chat. And I'm actually going to make sure myself. Okay, so we have good audio. Last week when we did our audio, the audio was a little bit messed up. I actually had to throw the whole lab away just because the audio when I went back last week was a little bit messed up. I hope my camera isn't seems a little tilted, but that's okay. Tamika said, okay, yes, awesome. Thank you for joining us. She said you can hear me just fine. Jenny says that she can hear me at the Bunny and Brand Marketing. Hello. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. And while you guys are just coming in, just let me know where you are tuning in from. So let me know where you're tuning in from. My camera definitely seems crooked, so I'm going to change it here. Give me 1 second. Let's tilt it. Okay. Seems a little. Okay, I think that might be a tad bit better. It was messing with me. Okay, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. This is going to be our jump start with HoneyBook session that we're going to be doing here, and I am going to go ahead and share my screen. Tamika says she's hanging out here with you from Atlanta. Awesome. All right, so I want to share my whole Chrome tab because let's see. Well, actually, I'll just share just this one. Okay, awesome. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to think, do I want to move this over to the other side? Okay. All right, Nancy says she's coming from New York City. Awesome. Welcome. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into this. That way, you don't take much of your time, even though this session is probably going to be about 45 minutes to 1 hour. You guys know I typically kind of run over time this time, but I'm working on that. So I'm going to do my best to kind of get you guys in and out of there. So let's go ahead and talk about Jumpstart with HoneyBook. So first of all, I just wanted to go ahead and just welcome all of you guys to this particular session because this lets me know that number one, you're really ready to start going through and taking action and streamlining your business. And I know as entrepreneurs, a lot of times that you're pretty tired of doing all of the tasks in your business, like sending out those emails and receiving emails, setting appointments, sending invoices, contracts, onboarding, all of those tasks. They are very draining and they're daunting things. But my goal here today is to really help you to get your time back and how you can actually use HoneyBook in order to be able to get that done. So just in case you are new here, my name is Kaniqua, and I am the CEO of K&Z Jones Client Services, LLC, where we empower female entrepreneurs to just do the thing, right? To show up online via strategic website design, scaling their projects or businesses through digital products and saving a lot of time and money through systems and through tech, which again, one of my favorite things to talk about is with HoneyBook. So before we dive into this HoneyBook session, I just want to let you guys know that I am bringing this live to you from our new community that we just built, that just launched last week, and it's called Just Launch It. So Just Launch It Networking Club is a free club that you can join. There are different tiers, but you can get a lot of value from this club just at the free level. So anyone can join, but it's really for our coaches, our creatives, our service providers that are trying to go through and level up their business and want some type of accountability. They want to be able to network with other business owners, attend exclusive events that I'm hosting inside of the community, like co-working and different educational type of events, as well as you'll have access to different resources that I put in there. So if you want to join the Just Launch It Networking Club, you can do that by just going to justlaunchit.community and sign up completely for free. All right, so I just want to go through and take a poll of exactly who we actually have in this room, right? Because I want to make sure that when I do these sessions, because I want to do these type of sessions, I'm thinking about like maybe once or twice a week. So not twice a week. one or twice every other month, once or every other month. But I want to make sure that I'm actually tailoring the session and the examples that I'm using to see whether or not HoneyBook is a good fit for you. I just want to know of who exactly I have in the room. So if you can just drop a one for me if you're tuning in, and even if you come in at the replay, because I know people, they can't always attend the sessions when I have them, which is perfectly fine. But if you're watching the replay, you can hashtag replay, let me know too. But if you could put in the chat for me a one, if you're used to doing everything manual in your business at this point in time, give me a two. If you've actually never heard of using HoneyBook, or maybe you're on the fence about using HoneyBook, or give me a three if you have a HoneyBook account, but you're not sure how to use it to its fullest potential. Just go ahead and let me know inside of the chat, like, which one are you? And let me see if we switch up the view. No, that might block some of our slides here. Trying to see like which view it might be better, but I'll go back to the original view. Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, so we have Tamika. She says she is a one and a three. Nancy says, where am I going? Nancy says she's a three. Cynthia says a two. Latanya says a two. Kalia says a two. Okay, awesome, awesome. So that gives me a really good idea about where everyone is at this point. Now, and Chloe says that she's also a two. Okay, awesome. So at the end of this, I am going to tell you more about, after this session, if you wanted to take it to the next level and you're like, okay, HoneyBook is for me, but I actually need help, especially for my threes that already have a HoneyBook account and they're just not using it to its fullest potential. At the end of this, I will give you an invite to our HoneyBook Bootcamp, which is going to be March the 27th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. But I will tell you more about that at the end of the session. So let me just tell you, before I went through, and Nancy says she has HoneyBook, but she doesn't know how to use it properly. Okay, no problem. So I'm going to go over a few examples here in this particular session to kind of give you some ideas of what you could do inside of HoneyBook. So for me personally, before I started using HoneyBook, I was going through and I was piecing several different things together, right? I was literally going through, I was using a different system for invoicing. I was using a different system for invoicing. I was using another system for scheduling. Like I was using Acuity Scheduler to do all of my meetings and appointments and even consultations. I was using another system to create brochures. Like I was creating PDFs inside of Canva and then having to manually go through and send those out to people. The same with welcome letters. Like when we welcomed on new clients, we were actually having to go through and send those out manually and creating them inside of like Canva, like a PDF. We also had another system for a portal. We were manually sending out emails, like I said again, and we were doing so many different things that was wasting so much time and energy until I actually started looking for a better way. And that's when I came across HoneyBook. Now, the reason why I like using HoneyBook is because after I started using HoneyBook, I started to see that I was able to go through and consolidate and streamline my client workflow. And not to mention, I was able to go through and eliminate some of the things or some of the systems that I was using. So for example, just like how I said I was using Acuity Scheduler, I literally was able to go through and get rid of Acuity Scheduler. So like with the plan that I have with HoneyBook, I think I'm on like the middle plan or something like that. That took care of it, allowed me to be able to get rid of Acuity Scheduler. And I was able to get rid of a couple other tools that I was using. What else was I was also using Adobe. So I was also using Adobe Sign to sign contracts. So what I was able to get rid of, I was able to switch over to get and use HoneyBook for less than those other systems. And I was able to eliminate some other systems too. But I was able to put everything into this one system so I can completely customize and streamline my client workflow for our website design clients and also for our system strategy clients. Now, also too, I was able to go through and book clients faster. The reason why I was able to do that because I was able to go through and use HoneyBook's automation feature to be able to go through and send out the prospects exactly the information that they needed and give them a way that they can go through and either book a service with us, completely paying for that service up front, or even going through and booking a discovery call. So, like, for example, right now, let's say for one-on-one coaching, before people had to go through and they would use Acuity scheduling, and granted, they can book from there. But the beauty of why now I like to do all my scheduling directly through HoneyBook, because number one, I can do the scheduling, they can book and pay for that up in advance. I can also ask questions about what exactly they need help and coaching with, as well as they'll send out system reminders and even SMS reminders now, because that's actually a new feature they just came out with this year. But then also too, it allows me to take that client and put them into a client flow, which means that after we go through and book that appointment and I meet with them, then my service is not done with them, right? Even though they technically have only paid for the coaching call, I can go through and follow up with them a couple weeks later or a month later on automation to see if they need any further assistance. Because keep in mind, especially if you are in the service, you're a service provider or you're a coach or something like that, is that once people start going through and paying you for your services, those people are more likely to pay for the next service. So that's why using something like HoneyBook to be able to book faster, but also be able to go through and maintain your client relationships for the long haul. Imagine too, if you're able to now start feeling more confident and more professional of how you actually go through and present yourself to your actual prospects or clients that are trying to work with you. Because now the average person that you probably book or go to their website or book a service with them, they're probably doing things like maybe sending a scheduler, maybe at best, but a lot of people, it's that back and forth in the email, and it's just not as professional. And you're able to go through and wow your customers when they put that inquiry in, then they get this beautiful brochure back, right? Now, not to mention too, just in case, because I'm not sure, because I know some of you guys, because we're streaming from different places, like we're in StreamYard, we're on Facebook, and we are also on YouTube, of course. So I'm not sure at what point that you guys did come, but in the link of wherever you're watching this video, I'm giving you one of my smart files that you can have completely for free. The link is in the description box below. You can actually get it two ways. By either A, just using the link and signing up, and then we can send it over to you, or B, when you go through and use our HoneyBook link. So if you say, hey, yeah, HoneyBook is for me, then you can go through and sign up, get 50% off your first year HoneyBook, and HoneyBook will automatically send you our smart file. So I'm going to show you guys that smart file, what it looks like and how you can go through and use it, but it's free to you. So that's what you do get for here too as well. And then also, after using HoneyBook, it allowed me to be able to go through and save time and minimize my effort, because I'm able to go through and use automation and templates. Okay. So let me know if you have any questions along the way. If all of that sounds like something that you want in your business, to be able to save time, you want to have things streamlined, you want to have things automated, you want to be able to eliminate other systems and get way more time back and money in your business, just give me a heart inside the chat and let me know that, yes, this is totally for me. This is what I want to do. Just let me know. Now, I'm going to go over what we're going to be covering today. So in today's lesson, in this webinar here, I'm going to talk about exactly what is HoneyBook, right? What exactly is HoneyBook? Oh, went back a screen. What exactly is HoneyBook? How and what you're going to learn how HoneyBook can actually go through and help you to be able to streamline your business and your client workflows to help you save way more hours in each week. And you'll be able to check out some of HoneyBook's new features that they just released, because I'm going to show a couple of them to you that they released this year. And there's a ton of them. We're not going to cover all of them, but I'm going to show you some of my favorite ones. And as well as too, I'm going to let you know exactly how you can actually go ahead and get started as a total beginner. So we're going to cover that. So what exactly is HoneyBook? So HoneyBook, in essence, is basically the leading client flow platform for independent professionals. So it provides tools to help you manage your inquiries. So this is going to be your legal contracts, your scheduling, your payments, and everything that it takes in order for you to be able to run your business more efficiently. So I see Tamika gave a heart. Let's Celebrate gave a heart. Awesome. Love it, love it. Okay, so what exactly is HoneyBook used for? So some of the things that you can use HoneyBook for is going to be your workflow automation. So just imagine, just to kind of give you an example of how I go through and use HoneyBook. So when someone goes to our website, they're able to go through, let's say they need a website design, right? They need a website design, they submit an inquiry. HoneyBook, through that automation, they automatically, based off of that person choosing website design, they automatically get our website brochure. Okay. That is the same, pretty much the same brochure that sharing with you guys today for free. That's in the description box below. I have one for HoneyBook. I have one for our website design. I have another one for our business consulting. So I shared one of them with you that you can use. So they automatically get that brochure that allows for them to be able to go through and choose the service that they would like. I don't actually have it activated, and I'll show you, but I don't actually have it activated where they are required to choose a particular one, and I will show you why. But they could go through, choose their service, give me a couple of details about the project, and then actually book their discovery call with the scheduler that's embedded in that smart file. HoneyBook can also be used for bookkeeping and invoicing. So depending on, and I'm not sure if this particular one, so they have bookkeeping in general, like you could see like your reports, you can get all of that inside of HoneyBook, like with the funds that you're making. Now, I do know, and I'm not sure if this is available to everyone's account. It will not show up in the demo account that I am going to show you here in a second. But in my regular account that I use, we do also have access to HoneyBook financing, where it gives us a HoneyBook card. We have a HoneyBook debit card, and the funds from when someone actually goes through, books a service to us or pays something through HoneyBook, it automatically goes into our HoneyBook checking account. And with HoneyBook financing, it also has like where you can create like different buckets. So you can create a tax bucket, you can create whatever type of buckets you want. And from the amount of money that you get, so let's say it's $1,000 and you got 30% for your tax bucket. It will automatically put that into the tax bucket for you, keeping your money nice and organized. So I'm not sure if that's something that every single account has at this point, probably something that they will be coming out for everyone here soon, but you can definitely get a lot of bookkeeping and invoicing through HoneyBook, even at this point in time through your account. It's also used for your online payment processing. So you can connect like your bank accounts and the money that you get for your projects that you're doing. So let's say you're a virtual assistant and you want to go through and set your clients up on reoccurring payments. Maybe they're paying you retainer $500 or something like that every single month. You can set that account up. You can send them that project, that proposal, that contract. They can do all of that in one swoop. They can make that payment and you can set them up on reoccurring and you're good to go. Even through HoneyBook now, they also even have that new feature where you can actually add on late fees automatically. So for some of you guys that have to go through and just find yourself having to like chase down payments or something like that, you can even do that inside of HoneyBook. Communications. So it's also good for communications. HoneyBook allows us to be able to streamline our communications right inside of HoneyBook. So we're not having to go through and really toggle between communicating with clients between HoneyBook and our Google account or email account and things of that nature. We can go through and we can communicate with them right inside of HoneyBook. And then those emails, of course, do land in their inbox. When they reply to those emails, it will show up in their HoneyBook account. They also have access to a portal where they can go through and review all that correspondence. They can go through and upload things to you. So if it's like a logo, or like, depending on what business you have, if it's like a logo or some files or whatever it is, they can go through and give that to you and be able to access all of that from the communications. And then contract management. You can send out your contracts through HoneyBook, and now being able to go through and put everything that you have pretty much for your business inside of HoneyBook. So for me personally, me going through and using HoneyBook, like I explained before, it had it where I'm able to go through and eliminate so many different systems. I literally just go through. Now, of course, because I create content, of course, I have my content creation systems, right? But when it comes to actually doing the work of my business, I'm literally using HoneyBook. I'm using Trello for productivity. I am using ConvertKit for my email marketing. And of course, I have a Google email, my business email address. But as far as going through, and I have Stripe, going through and actually the deliverables of the work that we do, we're able to go through and minimize the systems that we use because we're going through and using HoneyBook. So let me know if you have any questions so far inside of the chat. I will be more than happy to stop and answer those questions for you. And again, I am going to be showing just a quick demo of some of the things that you can do inside of HoneyBook to see if HoneyBook may be a good fit for your business. So some of the recently released features, it has been a ton of features that they have released in the last few months. I do believe that they may be coming out with some other little tweaks along the way, even throughout the rest of this year. But a couple of my favorite ones they have come up with so far is a fully customizable pipeline. Now, I know a few of you guys, I know Tamika, Nancy, they both said that they do have a HoneyBook account. So you may have remembered or may recall if you were inside of your HoneyBook account where inside of HoneyBook, there were certain blocks or pipeline fields that you were not able to edit. Now you can fully edit those pipelines, as well as you can go through and you can automate the movement of what's going on in there. Tamika says, does HoneyBook allow us to keep a client's credit card information on file so we don't have to chase them around for late fees, for example? So the beauty of it is that when you go through and let's say it's a reoccurring invoice, right? A reoccurring invoice, there is a box that you can check to have the client where they have to automatically auto pay. If you want them to automatically auto pay, that means that card, that payment method that they did, so whether it's a card or bank account, it will basically stay on file so it can charge on that date again. So that way you don't have to worry about it. So like, for example, like with our reoccurring clients that we do have, with the reoccurring clients, we do choose that option. So they'll automatically get charged for that. And they don't have to necessarily worry about any type of late fees or anything like that, unless, the payment doesn't go through. But we haven't really had that problem. But yes, you can do that. Number 2 is more automation. So I love automation. That was one of the things, you're welcome, Tamika. That was one of the things that drew me to HoneyBook is because of the automation that I was able to do inside of HoneyBook. But now they've actually made it even better where you can automate so many different things, which I will show you a couple examples here in a second. Digital products. So last week we talked about actually, and if you guys were here, let me know that you were here last week. But if you tuned in last week, we actually talked about leveraging YouTube for your service-based business. And one of the things that I shared was that how I was able to go through and generate money from YouTube without actually being monetized. And one of those ways was via digital products. Now, granted, I don't have, because I've been selling digital products since 2017, I have an LMS system, Thinkific, and now I also use Circle for our community, which also does do digital products. But I have tested out this digital product feature. And for those that don't have those systems and want to actually go through and utilize something that they're already paying for, this is a really good option for you to be able to send out your digital products. So I would definitely utilize this. Like I said, if you're not going through and you're not selling digital products anywhere else, or you don't want to pay for another platform, this may be the option for you. The client portal login. So the client portal login, they actually went through and changed the way that's logged in to make it easier for clients to be able to log into their account. Because before it was a few steps that they had to do to actually log in. Like they had to request the password, then the password will automatically sent to them, then they go through and log in. But they didn't necessarily know that they had to do all of that all the time. And so it was quite a few steps, but now they've actually made it so much easier where they do have access to like a smart link that will allow for them to be able to log into their account very, very easily. And again, this is where they can see that communication between you. They can upload things to you. You can set deadlines and tasks for them inside of there as well. And so it's so much that you can do. Email Smart Files is also a recently new feature that they did have. So just imagine being able to take your template. So we have email templates inside of HoneyBook, but imagine being able to take your templates and being able to take templates and actually having smart fields that basically fill in information on templates. What I mean by that is, let's say you have a particular project and maybe you want to have the person's name. You have your template. Obviously, in a template, a lot of times you don't have it where it has that person's name or project details, but now you can. You can have a template go out and it says, hey, Kaniqua, blah, blah, your payment is due on boom date. And it's boom project because it's pulling in from those smart files, those smart fields that you've actually embedded into the template, which is pretty cool. And then the last thing is, and this is not the extensive list of all of the new features. However, these are some of my favorites of some of the features. And then the last one is going to be the file upload. So inside of Smart Files, inside of HoneyBook, you can go through, and with Smart Files, it allows you to be able to send out like questionnaires and things like that. So you can send out questionnaires, maybe surveys, maybe offboarding, onboarding questionnaires. So one use that I love this file upload for is because it allows for us now, when we offboard a client, before we would send them out a smart file, like a survey to say, how was your service? Ask a whole bunch of questions or like 5, 6 questions. But we also wanted a picture with our testimonials. And before it was harder to get a picture, we would have them, hey, reply back to the email, and give us a picture. People are more or less not likely to actually do those extra steps. But now with the file upload, they're now able to upload that right inside of that file as well. And while they're typing out or doing their review, then they can also give us a picture, which is pretty cool. So who exactly is HoneyBook for? Because that might be what you're asking yourself, because sometimes I know that it may be like a myth, or maybe I wouldn't say necessarily like a myth, because maybe back in the day when HoneyBook first came out, it was really geared towards photographers and things like that. But HoneyBook is way past that at this point. And it is for so many different creatives and independent business owners. So it's for your business coaches. Business coaches, you can use HoneyBook to be able to streamline your business and be able to do everything you need. Graphic designers, it's for you too. Accountants, you can use this. Our VAs, so our virtual assistants, our online business managers, our social media managers, HoneyBook is for you. If you do hair and makeup, yep, it could be for you too. If you're in the wellness profession, it could be for you, or even cake designers. It could be for you as well too. Okay. HoneyBook can go for so many different businesses. And as you notice, there's some that I didn't, because I can't list all of the businesses that is for. But as you can see, I tried to do a list of things that are not really related to each other, but all can benefit of the usage of using HoneyBook. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of exploring of what exactly is inside of HoneyBook. So I am going to stop sharing this screen. I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and then I am going to jump into our demo account here. Now, as a matter of fact, I'm going to take StreamYard. I'm going to take you over here. Let's see, stream. Okay, awesome. All right. And so if you have any questions, let me know if you do have any questions while we're going through this. Obviously, like I said, this isn't a full demo of HoneyBook. However, I'm going to take you over a couple things that I absolutely love about HoneyBook. So currently right now, so this is the home screen, which is actually, and this is inside of our demo account. We don't use this account, but for me to actually go through and do these videos. So this is a demo, the demo account, and this is the home screen. So, and depending on when you actually went through and set up HoneyBook, you may have these sections here at the top that basically gives you like this walkthrough of how you can go through and set up your HoneyBook account, going through those steps. So I highly recommend that you go through those steps, as well as you do have access if you go through and you sign up for a new account, which just to let you know that you can, if you're a new account or you want to give it a try, with my link in the description box below, you can sign up for 50% off your first year, as well as you do get a free trial. So I think you get a free 7-day free trial. You get 50% off your first year, as well as you do automatically get my HoneyBook Smart File brochure that I'll show you here in a second. They'll automatically send it to you. So inside, oh, and then you also will get to, if you have files anywhere else. So some of you guys, let me know if you have files anywhere else. So if you have contracts anywhere else, if maybe you have a brochure somewhere else, anything like that, you can use their file setup, and they will go through and basically create your files for like HoneyBook settings, right? Because the settings that are inside of HoneyBook are different than like a regular PDF. So definitely take advantage of that if you have a new account. So this is our home screen. Inside the home screen, I like this. They actually just updated this where you can see everything from the top. You can see new leads that you bring in. You can see tasks. You can see your calendar. And that's the beauty of it too, is that you can connect HoneyBook to your actual calendar. Okay. So to your actual calendar, that way you don't get yourself double booked. So let's say like I do bookings, I have my calendar for inside of HoneyBook, but then also too, I also have my, that's connected to my Google account, right? To my Gmail. That way, anything I have personal, like personal appointments or anything like that, I'm not having to go through and worry about it actually going through and double booking me or booking me while I have something personal going on. So that is the home screen. Now inside you have your home, you have your projects. So this is what I was telling you guys about the customizable pipelines. Before, some of these sections were actually locked where you couldn't go through and change it. But inside of HoneyBook, and next week, if you guys want, because if you're on the call or you're in the replay, definitely hashtag replay. But if you're in the replay and you're not sure of how to set up like a client flow, this is what this is, a client flow. And this is just, again, this is our demo account. So I just kind of gave an example, like this is your active projects, which is a default. You have inquiry, follow-up, discovery call, the proposal sent, the contract, retainer paid, planning, project kickoff, completed, and then archived, right? When you're totally done with the project. But if you're not sure how to set up a client flow, that's what we're going to be talking about next week this time. So at 12 p.m. next week, we're going to be talking about how to set up your client flow. Okay. And it's not necessarily specific to HoneyBook. Obviously, I'm going to put a little bit of that in there, but it's how to go through and set up your client flow. So if you want to learn how to do that, if you're not sure, then you want to be back next week. But this is what this pipeline is. So now you can go through and you can customize this pipeline. You can add different stages. They've actually expanded it where I believe now you can add on 20 different stages. And then you can go, so if you click add stage, it'll allow you to be able to add it, and you can put any title on it, and you can move it to wherever it is that you would like to move it, however your process is set up. You can also go through and manage your pipeline automation. So this is a part they just recently added that I absolutely love, because before it would kind of move, it would move different ways, right? Now you can actually go through and customize how you would like it to go through and move. So your new projects, a new project comes in, then that might go to the inquiry field, right? Typically that's where that will go, but maybe you wanted it to go somewhere else. Maybe when the first email is sent, when the first follow-up email is sent, the project moves to the selected stage. Well, right now this one's set to follow-up, but maybe you want it to go somewhere else. So you can fully customize where you want this to go to be able to streamline your business even further right inside of the project pipelines. Another thing about with inside of HoneyBook, what we're going to look at, let's say what we're going to do next. Let's do contact forms, right? So contact forms here. So a contact form is really what you're going to use in order for people to get inside of your HoneyBook account. So let's say you're a virtual assistant and someone is interested in your virtual assistant services and they go to your website, they are going to go to a contact form because the contact form can be embedded on your website. So currently right now, we'll look at lead forms in a second, but a lead form cannot at this point in time necessarily be embedded into your website. Deborah says she can't wait to use it. Awesome. So let's see. We have an example like application form, right? So you can use your contact form. You can go through and create your form. So whatever questions that you need to ask your particular prospect, this is what you're going to do on your form. Now you can decide, like this example one has a heading on it, but you don't have to have that. You can delete it. You can customize it. You can add the questions. It's giving you questions here. You can go through and add content. So if you wanted to add images to make it pretty, you can do all of that in order to be able to customize your form. Now, I would recommend too, depending on where you're putting this form, right? And this is just kind of like the designer person in me, is depending on where you're putting this form, if you're embedding this form on your website, you may want to think about all the pictures, right? If you put all the pictures on there, just think about where you're embedding it and if those pictures are going to look good where you're actually putting it at. So if you're embedding it in a place that already has a whole bunch of pictures and stuff, I would leave the pictures off the form. You can go through and create multiple forms as well too. Then you just hit publish. You can grab your embed code here. Let's say, for example, you want to actually go through and put this somewhere where you're not going to embed it. You also have a link down here at the left where you can just go through and link the form. All right. So that's how someone would actually go through and get inside of your HoneyBook account. And you can also start automations from that form too. So actually, let me go back to it really quickly. Let's go back here. So for example, let's say you put a question on here like this one, for example, is like, what type of project are you looking for? So I put this up here from our last slide because I had a lot of makeup artists in that class. And so she had asked me about this, but you can actually go through and put your different services here. So maybe it's business consulting, maybe you have makeup, system setups, website design, and you can put this is actually going to be in your setup section inside of your settings. Okay. So if you want to know where this pulls from your settings. So the beauty of this is that you can go through and set up an automation from this form itself, or you can go through and set up an automation from an individual item, that an individual project or service. So for example, like with our business, we like to do it from services versus the whole form itself. Well, depending on the form. So like, for example, our regular form that we have on our website is going to be for services, because when I go through and I send out the next step or the next automation, the people that get website design information are not the same people that get HoneyBook information or get business consulting information, because I want those people to do different things. And so we set up different automations dependent on the service that they are requesting. Okay. But you can also send it out for the whole entire form if you don't want to make it complicated, which I will show you which section you will go through and do that. If you have any questions, certainly let me know. I just really, again, want to show you all the possibilities of what you can do inside of this one system, because a lot of times what I find like with our clients is that they sign up for HoneyBook, but they really don't know exactly where to go and how to actually go through and use it. And some of the things that I'm going to cover here obviously are going to be just like an overview, and it's going to be just like more a little bit in depth than even you may use it. But even at the end, I'm going to show you your first 5 steps of what I think every new person using HoneyBook should go through and complete first. Okay. So don't worry if it seems a little over your head. Don't worry about it. Okay. All right, so let's talk about lead forms. So lead forms are going to be basically for like your action takers. If you want someone to go through and just do something right now, you can create a link and you can share it on social media. You can put a button on your website or something like that, right? So going here, if I were to create new, it gives you different form types all of these form types can basically be adaptable to one another. So if you choose one and then you decide you want to do another one, you can add different blocks to them to make them kind of resemble each other. So I wouldn't worry about that. But they give you some examples that I recommend that you start with. HoneyBook has a lot of different templates built right inside of HoneyBook. So you don't necessarily have to make it like custom, or you can customize it obviously, but you don't have to make it difficult is what I mean. So you have like options for one-time consultation, introductory call, inquiry form, instant booking, speaking engagement. So maybe you're trying to do and set up for a speaking engagement with someone, you can definitely do that. Partnership forms, mini sessions, VIP days, digital product. So like, let's say, for example, we head into the digital product. It's giving you an example of how you can easily go through and do a digital product. So all you do is go through, you hit edit on that template, and you can go through and customize it. You would name your template. You would put a description of what it is. You would add the link. So currently right now inside of HoneyBook, you can only add a link from one of your products. So if you have an ebook, a checklist, a guide, or something like that, and you can go through and you can house it, let's say in Dropbox, Google Drive, you would put that there. Or maybe if you have like a video content, maybe you can put a Venmo link, a YouTube link, or a Loom link. You can do that as well too. And then you just go ahead and add in all your details about your project. It literally walks you through how to go through and put your digital product if you choose to use that for that. But there's so many other cases, because if we have any coaches in here, I actually use lead form in our main account. I use lead forms as a way to go through and to be able to book consultations. I don't have to go through and, like I said, use a scheduler anymore, because I use a lead form to basically outline that particular service that I'm offering as far as coaching. And then I embed that scheduler form, and it also comes with an invoice inside of there as well as even the class that I'm going to tell you guys about. If you guys go to that class link that's in the description box below, and I will show you again another way you can get to it, but it's also going to take you to a HoneyBook form. So like, even when I go through and I teach you about HoneyBook, I'm using HoneyBook to go through and show you, so you can also see like the back end of everything of what it is that I'm using. So everything that I use in that class, I'm using HoneyBook so I can show you how it looks. All right, so let's go ahead. So we have contact forms, lead forms. And as you can see, when we were talking about before about the reports, so once you start getting in money through your HoneyBook account, you will have access to reports, payments, you can see expenses, and your profit and loss. So you can see all of that right inside of HoneyBook as well. You can also connect other things. So let's say our integrations, you can connect QuickBooks to this as well. So you have QuickBooks. So if anybody, let me know if you guys use QuickBooks or something like that. Let me know inside the chat. But you can connect QuickBooks, so you can easily be able to kind of keep those reports and everything connected together. You can connect your Zoom. So when we go through and look at scheduling, that now it's going to automatically send the scheduler, it's going to automatically send that Zoom link for you. So you don't have to do anything. You have the scheduler, you gave them the scheduler, they book from that schedule, and they have the Zoom link. You can connect that. Again, you can connect your calendar. You can also do Zapier. So if you guys know, with Zapier, it's pretty much like that middleman between thousands of different systems and tools, where if you don't see something that natively connects right inside of HoneyBook, that you can use Zapier to go through and basically connect it together. So kind of go through. Tamika, great. She says she uses HoneyBook. Awesome. So like, for example, one way that I use like Zapier, I told you guys that I use Trello for my productivity. So what I do is, like, when someone books a project, like a website design project from with our HoneyBook, once they fully book, I have a trigger set up to automatically create them a Trello board inside of my Trello account. Right. And so that's one way we do it. It just saves us more time. It keeps us from having to go through and create the board. Right. It's like, make a copy of this board that we have, because we have a template board inside of Trello. Make a copy of this particular board. So that's what we do. You can also, let's say you have a team, you're using Slack, you're using other productivity tools, like you're using Monday or Asana. You could do that as well too. If you're running ads, you can also go through and connect even your meta leads as well too. Okay. So those are a lot of things that you can go through and you can integrate right inside of your HoneyBook account. So as we're going through this, do you guys see like all of the features that are actually inside of HoneyBook and some of these things that they'd be like, I could probably eliminate some of this stuff that I'm already using, right? Because like, again, I was using so many different tools and systems and going through and piecing them together where I didn't have to do all of that. Like all of these features they're actually inside of HoneyBook that I can go through and use. So you also have your productivity. So I went over integrations. Let's go over scheduling really quickly because I know a lot of you will probably use that particular scheduler, right? So if we have a scheduler, you can see like all of your availability here. You can also add in team members depending on your plan that you have. So let's say if we go to a new schedule type, you can choose what type of session that you want. Is this going to be in person? Is it going to be video or other? If I do video, because I have Zoom connected and Google connected, it will allow for me to be able to choose Zoom. I can put in the name of that session. It's going to automatically go through and create that Zoom link that I was telling you guys about. You can choose your time zone. So I recommend that you go through, choose your time zone, your duration, when you want this or how you want this actual session to be scheduled. Like indefinitely is not something I do, right? I don't do indefinitely because that means if I do indefinitely, that means that a year from now, like a year out, someone can go through and book a session with me. Like I don't want that, right? So I personally like to do a rolling window, and I typically do like a rolling window of 2 months because I'll go through my schedule for 2 months and make sure that my availability is correct, but you can definitely go through and change it and customize it the way that you want. You can do session color, so that way you can differentiate between the different sessions that you do have. You can tell the difference for it. Kalia says, how do you start the meeting from HoneyBooks? That's a great question. So you actually don't start the meeting from HoneyBook. You will start the meeting from wherever the meeting type is. So it would be like, let's say you have Zoom, then you would start it from Zoom. If you have Google, like Google Meet or something like that, you would start it from there or wherever else that you use. Like, so like now I even use, like I'm using StreamYard to stream to you guys and hold sessions is how I do that. And then I also have like Riverside because I create content. So those are also links that I can go through and provide. So wherever your software is of how you do those sessions, and that's if you do video. You can also do phone call too. Okay. So you can also do phone call if you're just going to pick up a phone. All right. Then you can also put in so this was actually a new feature as well too, like using the meeting date as a project date. And how that might actually service you is because it allows you to be able to set up automation through doing this particular one. If you decided to turn this on, okay, depends on what you're going to do. You have your instructions for the session. Now you also have the option to do SMS. So they will get that email notification as well as SMS to get those reminders. Typically, like I like to do like a day out and an hour before. And then you can put in your availability. This is where you can go through, put in all your availability out. You can put any buffer. So if you need to buffer between each one of your appointments, minimum notice, minimum notice. So I always use a minimum notice. You can decide to do that. I always use minimum notice. I typically would do 1 day minimum notice, basically 24 hours in advance, right? Because I don't want to be sitting here and then like it's 12:47 and then at 1 o'clock, someone just booked an appointment, right? Like, no. So I always use minimum notice. You can do custom increments. Like, so if they can view appointments in 30-minute increments, maybe you want 15-minute increments because maybe you offer 15-minute, maybe discovery calls or something like that. You can definitely do that. And you can also customize that confirmation number, or excuse me, confirmation page to them as well too, allowing them to be able to reschedule and all of that goodness. So whatever you're using for scheduling at this present moment, you can possibly go through and just eliminate that scheduler system and do everything right inside of HoneyBook. You have your tasks. Now I can show you tasks. I don't personally use tasks that much, but I use tasks. Well, actually, I'll show you the way that I use tasks. You can view all your tasks from there. You can do time tracking from here. I like to use, you can time track through your projects. I personally don't time track through projects through the system. I like to use Toggle, which is free. It's free to use. I'm on the free plan. You do have a paid plan, but I have free plan and I got people on the team. And so we use free. So I don't use that through there. But let's go ahead and look at templates. Okay. This template right here, this HoneyBook template, this is a template that I share for you guys for free that you can get in the description box below. Okay. So this is the free template. You can get this template, like I said, 2 different ways. If you sign up for HoneyBook and you want to start a free trial of HoneyBook and you don't have an account, You can start a free trial with my account. The link is in the description box below. You get 50% off, or you can grab it from our website, and you have to do it. It's a two-step process. If you do the second way, if you already have an account, you have to do it a different way, but all of that's in the description. But this is the brochure template. And I'm going to go over this because I want to show you guys what you guys can actually do with this. Again, this is free, so you can take this and you can roll with this today. This video you will remove. And I did do a video to also cover it, but you'll remove that video when you're done. So for example, I told you guys before, like when someone goes through and they go through, let's say, book a website design project, we go through, and once they hit that submit button, they are automatically sent to a brochure. Okay. So this is actually our HoneyBook brochure, but they're automatically sent to this brochure. This brochure outlines. This is actually a template, like I said, so I made it for you guys. But this here, this is where you go through and put in the information about you. Obviously, you'll switch it out for your particular lovely photo. If you have any badges or anything like that, so maybe your Better Business Bureau, or maybe you know, whatever type of badges you have, you can put that there. You can also customize it where obviously you can remove every single picture. You can customize all of the branding, remove sections that just don't work for you, right? Then you have your service options. So let's say I'm going to use the virtual. If you guys have another type of business, you guys let me know what type of businesses that you have. That way, some of the examples that I use, maybe I can use them that are applicable to your business. But for right now, I'm going to roll with the virtual assistant example. So let's say you have a virtual assistant business and you have retainer packages. You have 3 different packages that you offer. Maybe you offer a silver, a gold, and maybe a platinum package. In each one of these sections, you can go through and map out what comes with each one of those packages. Then your client can go through and select. As you guys see, when I hit select, what happened? I'm not sure. Hopefully you guys can see it on the screen. It's a little bit small, but up here at this top right, next to this cart, it's going to give me the amounts, and it's going to give me my selection summary. Your clients, your prospects, they automatically get this. So they come to your website, they put in the inquiry, they already know what your prices are. You gave them this brochure and you already know that they are interested because they have come through and they have selected an item from your brochure, right? And so they already know this is what the price is for this particular project, right? And so they can see those other items that you have on your list. If you want to go through and add any additional services, so in this template, I have additional services mapped out for you guys that if you have any type of add-ons. So maybe as a VA, maybe you also create a couple of social media graphics. Maybe that's an add-on. So that person will be like, okay, I want to add that on, click add. Now, boom. Now we go to this summary. This is the customer view, right? I'm in the customer view right now. They have that selection summary where now they can see, okay, I got this, I got that. Okay, this is what my total is going to be. Okay, they're going to hit next. In this particular template, I actually go through and I use reviews of this template because this allows, because again, this is allowing you to be able to, like, quote unquote, kind of sell your customer before they even go through. And they, mind you, in most cases, they haven't even talked to you yet. Like, they may have gone to your website because they may have found you on social media, or maybe they found you on a video or a blog or something like that, but they haven't actually talked to you yet. They might not have read every single testimonial that you have on your website. Now you're putting it front and center for them to be like, okay, here are 3 testimonials of people that have actually used this particular services. So obviously in this template, you guys will switch out your testimonials. Then on here, I give the project overview. Because before we even go through and do anything, right? So they already know approximately how much it's going to cost based off of what they selected, right? And like I said before, what I did was I went through and I made it where they didn't have to select something. And the reason why I did it where they didn't have to select something is only solely based off of the services that we offer, is that they don't have to choose a package. They may just need one of those like add-on services. And so that's why we did that. But you can customize that inside of the settings features. Then we went through and mapped out the project. I have some text here for you guys, for you to help you manage and write that for you. And then we go through some final details. Like, I want to know, like, some questions. Like, this is the one for the HoneyBook, but do you already have a HoneyBook account? That's something I would like to go through and know, right? Or what type of roadblocks do you have? I want to know all of this information before I jump on a call. And then what will happen is you will book you will put in your calendar. Obviously, there's no calendar in this one because this is the template that I gave you guys. So you would put your own calendar. So if I were to exit out of here, I will go through and I would put my own calendar in here. So I'll put test. And then if I go back and I were to preview this, now I have a calendar. So I have a calendar, which you would put your calendar in here. Now your client can look at this, or your prospect can look at this and like, okay, boom, I know how much it costs. I provided the information to them that they need in order to be able to help me on this discovery call. And now I'm going to book an appointment for tomorrow I'm going to get 9 a.m., I guess. And then you can go through, it's not gonna let me do because it's also in the preview mode, but then I have a little excerpt about this is the next steps, right? Next steps. Obviously, I got text for you guys and hit submit. When they hit submit, then they're good to go. And you can actually reroute them to wherever you want them to go. So typically after they hit submit, they will typically go back to their HoneyBook account. But if there's somewhere else that you need them to go after they hit submit, you can go through and select that in the settings and put where you want them to go if you need them to go somewhere, right? How cool is that, right? Let me know. How cool is that to be able to do that? That's actually created for you guys. Again, it's free. So you already have this created. Just plug and play. Change out the pictures, change out your branding, change out your content, put your services in there. And from this particular session, and the video is in there, I give you a full walk video inside the template that you would then delete after you get done. You have that to be able to plug and play that today you have a win where you already have a professional template that you can go through and showcase to your particular prospects. Tamika says that she has a flagship services, bridal hair. Okay, awesome. Bridal hair and makeup lessons, and personal beauty shopping services. Awesome. I love that. All right. So you guys have your template. So one of the things that I recommend that when you go through and you're going through your HoneyBook account is to set up templates, right? Is obviously to go through and set up templates when you can. When you're first setting up and doing your HoneyBook account, you may not be able to go through and set up all the templates. Like you're not going to get all the templates done from day one, but you can set up templates for your brochures. You can set up templates for contracts. So the one that I shared with you guys, this one was basically like a brochure, but we also have ones for contracts, right? Because we have to have one that has a contract. And you can create a smart file for this. These are all this is where you can create smart files. So there are plenty of templates in here. You have your contract, your invoice, your proposals, your services, your questionnaires, schedulers. You can also do something from scratch and do something custom. If you go to the template gallery, this is where you can find other templates that are built right inside of HoneyBook that you can easily customize. So you can go here, you can see the type, and let's say you're like, okay, I need a contract template. Well, you can select contract, and it's going to pull templates that have contract templates in it. And you can go through and you can pull it up. It's going to pull in some of your branding information there. And you can pull it up and say, okay, yeah, this looks good. I'm going to edit this. And you're going to put your contract that you already have, and you're going to put that information in here. And now you have a professional contract that's right inside of HoneyBook that you can easily send this out to your clients and your prospects. The same with anything else. You can also look at it by industry. If you think that there's something like, let's say, what did she say? Bridal hair. And like you could see too, the different industries that's already in here: agency, bakery, blogging, bookkeeping, business consulting, calligraphy, catering. I mean, it goes on: coaching, event planning, education, freelance, hair and makeup. So Tamika said hair and makeup. We choose hair and makeup. There's hair and makeup templates that are already inside of here. And being that you can go through it again, customize it for any type of business. You can make any templates into anything that you want because you're putting your content inside of there, your services, your contract information, and all of that goodness. Okay. If you have questions again along the way, just let me know. Inside of templates as well. So you have your templates where you can create brochures, invoices, contracts, all of that. But you can also go through and create email templates. So email templates allows for you to be able to not have to send out these things repetitively, right? You can go through and create a template where let's say you're responding to maybe the same question over and over again, or maybe there's an onboarding question onboarding process that you have. Now you can go through and you can create a template for it. Lynn from YouTube says, what if you want to do custom packages per client? Does that just mean there would be another template per client? So you can actually go through, and let's say you have a custom package, you can go through and have maybe an outline for it. So maybe some consistent things. So maybe like your introduction is going to be consistent. So you can go ahead and create a template that's going to have that. And then the services, you can actually go through and add the services in that you need per each client if it's something that you do custom. So I would just go through, like, if your intro, your headings and stuff are all going to be the same, go ahead and put all that information in there. And you can still put the basis of your contract. So you can have your contract page, and maybe you have to customize and add different things for your contracts. Like, for example, with our website design, for the most part, the contract is the same. The deliverables are a little bit different. For the most part, they're the same, but occasionally they are different. So all we have to do in the template is, before we hit send to send that out to the clients, all we have to do is just update that portion that is different, that deliverable that is different. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So if you have different things or different packages per each client, there's certain things that you can templatize, and then you can just change it as you go, right? So it's definitely some workaround for that. You can also be majorly organized inside of HoneyBook. So HoneyBook does allow for you to be able to even go through and create folders. So over here on the side, you have your folders. So you can create folders. Like, for example, I have folders like in our main account, we have folders for, and I put a couple of just test ones here just to show, but like we have, folders for websites. We have folders for business, for system setups. We have share templates. We have all of those different templates. That way we can easily find the things that we're actually trying to go through and look for. Your packages. So you can also put in all your packages here. So if you have your packages in your name, let's say going back to virtual assistant, you have like your gold plan, you can put your gold package and everything that it entails with that package, as well as like the unit item, or if it's hourly, something like that, you can put the price there, and you can put all of that information in. That way, when you are creating your invoices, you can easily just pull that into that particular template or into that particular smart file, and you're not having to go through and customize it. She said, okay, thank you. I understand. Yeah, I'm a new virtual assistant. Okay, awesome. Love it. So that is basically going to be your templates. Now, one of my favorite parts, actually, let's look at calendar really quickly, and then I will show you one of my favorite parts, which is going to be the automation. And then I will answer any questions that you have. So your calendar. So if you have any calendars, anything that's on your calendar. So again, this is our demo account. So there's nothing on this calendar, but if I was in my other account, it's going to pull things from my Google account, like any type of projects I may have going on there. Maybe anything's personal that I have, it's going to show that information here, as well as it's going to show anything for like booked projects, meetings, payments, tenants of projects. It's going to show all of that from HoneyBook. You can also go through, which is a newer feature now, is go through and customize the color that you want that to show up inside of your calendar. So if you want your calendar to be like a certain type of vibe when you look at your HoneyBook calendar, then you can definitely go through and customize that as well. And again, you can toggle back and forth between those inside of your scheduler. All right, so the last thing I want to go through and show you guys here is going to be the automation. Okay, so the automation. So what I like about automation is that you can set up automation a lot of different ways now. HoneyBook has actually expanded where it makes it where you can do so much. So we talked about lead forms, we talked about contact forms. So you can activate an automation a couple of ways. You can activate an automation via lead form or via contact form, or also manually adding a person to the actual automation. So for example, if I wanted to hit on new automation, you would first go through and name your automation, which I always recommend name your automation, because as you go through and do them, you're probably going to get more and more automations and sequences and things like that. But if you were to go through and hit on add your first one, you can see there's different options. This new one here, move pipeline stage, is actually just a new one that they came out with within the last few months, which I find to be like a game changer depending on how you have your system set up. But you can set up your automation. So let's say someone comes into your HoneyBook account via a contact form, right? So you can decide if, hey, when they submit that form, okay, so let's kind of go here with the example. Your virtual assistant, someone is interested in your services, they submit an inquiry via your contact form, and you want them to automatically get an email. So maybe you don't want to send out no brochure, you don't want to do none of that I just said. And the beauty of it is you can customize it and do it any way that you want. But you can go through and say, okay, I want to send an email, right? Because when someone submits a form, they want to know that that form has been received, right? So maybe you just have send email. The beauty about it is that you would go through, when we talked about templates, like these are all the templates that are in this particular account, right? So you can go through, choose like one of these templates. So I'm just going to choose just a random one. I'll just choose this one. So you can go through and do that. So if I were to do that, then it will go through and automatically send this template. So send this, automation after you hit save. So let's say we named it. Let's say we did name it. So I'll just name it test 2. I'll hit save. I'll go back and I will find test 2, which is down here. Now I have it as for a lead form here. You have contact form here. I will determine where do I want this to go for. Is it going to be for a lead form, contact form? So I'm going to be like, okay, I want contact form. So it could be a contact form. Now, when I told you guys before that you can do automation for a whole form, or you can do automation for a particular service, right? So if I want to do a whole form, I would just do default for the contact form. That means the whole form, no matter what option they choose, they're going to get whatever is in this particular sequence, which is this email that I attached into the sequence. But let's say, for example, I don't want that. And I'm like, okay, if they were to go through and use this particular contact form and they were to do business consulting, then they will, if they chose business consulting as their project that they're interested in, then send them this email. Okay. And so that's how you would go through and do that. You might have also noticed that there's a couple grayed out. So like makeup 1, makeup 2 is grayed out. The reason why those are grayed out, because they are already used somewhere throughout these other examples of these videos that I've done. So it's already here, right? Makeup 1, makeup 2. So it's not going to allow for you to be able to attach different projects to different automations that way, right? You have one project, one automation, or you do the contact form itself to do it for a full automation. Hopefully that makes sense, right? Going back to another example. So, and you will build it out this way. So maybe the first step is going to be sending out an email. Maybe you automatically want that activated. And then maybe after they do the email, maybe there's something else you want something else to happen. So you have other options that you can do inside of HoneyBook, which is why I this is one of my favorite features. You can send an email, so you can choose another email you wanted to send to. You can create a task. So when you create a task, this is really something creating a task for yourself. So when I said before that I don't necessarily use tasks to a high degree, I do use it to a very low degree inside of HoneyBook, meaning that I can create a task and maybe just set myself, a reminder for something. I would put whatever that reminder is, check, make sure email was received, right? And maybe I'll wait a day or two after that email was sent for me to be able to go through and do that, right? You also have other options. So you can send a file with an email. So maybe you just don't want that email to be sent. Maybe you were looking to send out that brochure that I'm giving you guys, right? So you can go through and you can send out this would actually be a smart file. The one that I'm sending to you is the smart file with an email. So you want to go through, you choose smart file, and it's going to ask you, well, what smart file do you want to choose? That's where folders kind of come into play, especially if you have a whole bunch of files, because if you have a whole bunch of files, then it's going to, you make sure you name your files, okay? Make sure you name your files, but putting folders, especially if you have different services, putting them into different folders, because it's gonna make it easier. So let's say right in this one, I just named these, but I have to go to all to pull one. But let's say I'm going to pull this HoneyBook one. I'm going to use this particular one. Okay, boom. So I have this particular one attached to it. And then I'm just going to choose any random email. And then I'm ready to go through and I want to get this sent. And you can go through, the beauty of it is that you can go through your automation. You can decide if it's going to be activated by a lot of different things. So it can be done by the previous step. You can do project dates. So maybe there's a particular project date that it's based off of. So now inside of scheduling, you can now set scheduling as a project date. Okay, so there's a toggle button inside of scheduling where you can toggle that project date and you can make that as a project date. So maybe when someone books an appointment with you from your scheduler, if you toggle on project date, now you can set up automation based off a project date because now you've now made that project date. Okay, and there's other ways you can make project dates as well too. But you can do it that way. You can also do it based off of file actions. So imagine being able to send an automation when a contract is signed and you're not having to go through and tell someone, okay, thanks for signing your contract, or when a brochure is submitted. So like when someone goes through and submits that brochure, submits that smart, well, it's a smart file, submit that smart file that I'm giving you guys for free. Once someone hits it, submit that, and that's completed, you can send out an automation for something else to trigger back to them. It can be an email to say, hey, thanks for completing this, or it can be like something next steps or whatever it is that you want to do. You can also do it based off of payments. So based off of payments made. Now, when someone makes a payment, they don't have to worry about, okay, did she get that payment? You can send it and say, when this first payment is made on that invoice or invoice is paid in full, to go through and to send out the next step. Is it going to be a questionnaire? Maybe it's an offboarding form that now that they've paid in full, now they get an offboarding form, right? So you can go through and do that. Or even again, when a session is scheduled, when a session starts, when a session ends. So like, for example, like I'll use it even for when a session starts. If someone books a consultation, they have an email that goes out that say, hey, the session is starting now. So even though they get those reminders, like we have the reminder a day, like I said, the day before, the day after, but then they also get it where when a session actually starts, hey, it's starting right now. So you should already be here, right? And when a session ends, right? So when a session ends, like, thank you for attending this session. In a few moments here, I'm going to send you a recap of our call, right? Which is obviously is something I have to customize, even though I have a template for it, but I have to fill it in with the information because every call is going to be different, right? You can also go through and you can do it by, again, setting a particular file, smart file. So this will pull from any files that you do have. And you can also customize and build out your automation, and you can move stages. So really and truly, the possibilities are endless as far as, in my eyes, as far as what you can do with this automation and your automation sequences. You can have a lot of things happen. So you can go from where a person is now that they have now booked, they have now inquired with you, but now after they make that payment, now you're telling HoneyBook, okay, move them from this stage to maybe our website design stage, because now, or website start stage, or kickoff call stage, or something like that, depending on whatever stages that you have. Now you can actually allow for them to be able to move throughout the pipeline, which again, the pipeline is going to be up here, projects. This is what this is right here. This is what this is, right? And like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about this part, because this part is semi-important. So we're going to talk about this part next week. And it's going to be just crafting out your client workflow, but it's not all about necessarily HoneyBook, right? So those are actually the main features inside of HoneyBook and what you can do. And obviously there's a couple, like you have your template gallery, but pretty much, Chrome extension. So we didn't cover that as much, but I recommend downloading the Chrome extension. I have it here right up here at the top. This allows me to be able to easily access HoneyBook when I'm inside of my Gmail account. I can just easily access it, as well as I can see people who email me back. I can see by clicking on that as well too, if they're already inside of our HoneyBook account. And then I believe it also allows you to be able to easily add that person to that account if they are submitting some type of inquiry there as well. Okay. All right. So that is your overview of how to go through and not necessarily use HoneyBook, right? Because we're not necessarily doing an overview of how I'm going to stop sharing this particular screen and go back. So not necessarily your overview of how to go through and use HoneyBook per se, but really about the possibilities of how you can go through and use HoneyBook. Because as you can see, there's so much that you can actually go through and do. So if you're wanting to go through and get started with HoneyBook, I'm going to give you guys my 5 steps of what I recommend that you get started with first, because we covered a lot in this hour. And obviously, you're not going to get off the call. You're not going to do every single last thing that I talked about today. And it's not something that you're going to be able to do just like in one day, right? I don't expect for you to do this in one day. Like literally, you're not going to be able to do it in one day. But there are a couple of things that you can go through and get started with. So I'm going to show you, bringing my other screen back again. So these are the 5 things that I recommend that you do when you're first starting HoneyBook. Because a lot of you guys in the beginning of this, some of you guys may still be on, may have fallen off. That's okay. Or even if you come in after the replay, I know a lot of you guys gave me some twos, right? You gave me some twos that you've heard of HoneyBook, but you're not really too sure about it, or you don't know all the possibilities about it, right? So these are the first 5 things that I recommend that you do. It's number 1, customize your settings. When you go through and you set up your HoneyBook account, at the top right, you'll have your profile. Your profile is where you can put your picture and customize all of those settings, from your branding to uploading your logo to putting in your payment information. That's what you want to do in that particular section, as well as it's going to give you a section that does have where you can go through and put those project types. It's going to give you those particular sections as well for you to be able to do that. Okay. So I'm going to, let me bring that up because I can give you the exact verbiage of what that is. That is under your company settings. So your preferences, that's where you're going to see that. So you'll see preferences and you'll see project types. That is where you'll be able to put in your service offerings. Okay. Number 2 is going to be saving time by creating templates. I gave you your first template. Okay. I gave you your first template. That template, again, is what we use to be able to go through and basically use as a smart file. A smart file, just to kind of give you the difference, is a smart file allows for you to be able to put multiple forms together, and they are interactive forms. Okay. So it allows for you to be able to create multiple pages. The one that I provided you with, it was a 3-pager that had the services. It had testimonials page, and then it has like a questionnaire page that also had a scheduler booked into it. But you'll create other smart files that are going to have your contracts, your proposals, and your invoices and things of that nature as well. So I would recommend start working on your templates, as well as working on templates for your emails. Okay. So if you're sending out emails to your prospects and to your clients, if you can put those like in candid emails, go ahead and do that and put that inside of HoneyBook. Number 3 is going to be going through and creating your contact form and embedding that onto your link on your website. Okay. Go ahead and do that, because that's how you're going to get people into your HoneyBook account. Okay. That's how people are going to be able to get into your HoneyBook account, is by going through your form. Okay. You will put that form on your website. Again, you can embed it, or depending on your website, if you don't want to do that, you can use the button. Like, for example, with my website, I don't have it embedded. I just used the link button for it because I didn't like the way it looked embedded, because of the way our site is. I just couldn't find a good place where I liked it. So I decided to use a button. But either way, that is how people are going to go through and get inside of your HoneyBook account. Okay. Number 4 is customizing your project pipeline, because your project pipeline is pretty much your workflow. Okay. So that is where a person comes in, they inquire about your services, and then they move throughout that pipeline in those particular stages that you actually have customized and what you have for your business. Okay. So it's helpful if you go through and say, hey, they go from inquiry stage to maybe they go to discovery call stage, to maybe they go to proposal sent, then they go to booking, then they go to clients, and then maybe, depending on your service, if it's a type of service that ends, or even archived if it's a service that ends and you no longer work with the customer, or maybe a section where they're not a good fit, you will put them inside of archived as well. So then you want to customize your project pipeline. Okay. And some of you may already know how to do that, because it's your process that you have currently at this time that you're running in your business. And then number 5 is going through and setting up your scheduler and syncing your calendar. So if you have your hours, your availability, go ahead. If you're using something else, you can go ahead and start putting those inside of your HoneyBook account. That way, people, when they start getting into your HoneyBook account, you can easily go through and send those links. One thing I like about with HoneyBook is, even when you're responding to a client inside of HoneyBook via like their messaging system and through the communications tab, is that you can easily, with one click of a button, you can pull that scheduler and it'll automatically put that scheduler link inside of your HoneyBook account, which is awesome, right? You don't have to go pushing around. Let me open up this other system to try to figure out what's my link. No, you can easily find that as well too. Okay. So go through and set up your scheduler and sync your accounts. That way you can have your Google account. If you're using Google a lot, like I look at my Google Calendar all the time. So you can go through and you can sync them together. And that way you're not double booking anywhere, or, things that you have going on with your life. That type of stuff is not being, messed up. Okay. So make sure that you go through and do that. Okay. So those are the first 5 things. Customize your settings. Save yourself some time by creating templates. Make sure you download the template that I have for you, okay? Download the template that I have for you. You literally just have to switch out your branding, put in your services, your content for that, and just switch it out, right? And put your picture, your stuff like that. You literally only have to do that. And then 3, again, contact form, embed that on your website, customize your pipelines, and then set up your scheduler and sync up your calendars, okay? Let me know if you have any questions about any of those steps. Let me know if you have any questions. And as you're going through and you're typing out that information, if you have any questions, definitely now is the time. Or if you're thinking like, okay, let me ask this question to see if HoneyBook can even do this. This is one of the reviews that we have from one of our clients that went through and took our HoneyBook intensive class. And our HoneyBook intensive classes are way longer. These classes are 5 hours long, and that's not the class that we're offering here at this time. But I did want to go through and just show you a review of someone that actually went through one of our HoneyBook intensive classes, where we literally sat in Zoom for 5 hours and we worked through the HoneyBook account. So after doing HoneyBook, she felt very confident and using HoneyBook. Before she attended the HoneyBook intensive, her business operations, her workflows, they were not good. Okay. Before the intensive, she didn't know where to begin. She did not, after she actually went through the HoneyBook intensive, she was able to feel more confident using HoneyBook. And she said, I did a wonderful job, which is awesome. Right. And helping her to be able to understand and walking her through what she needed to do, how to be successful actually using the system, and so much more. And she enjoyed the knowledge that I shared and was able to make everything easy for her to be able to understand. Just like how I'm teaching and sharing with you now is basically how I go through. And any lesson that I go through and teach, I break it down for you step by step, because I'm a step-by-step person and that's exactly what I need, right? All right. So if you have any questions, again, I went back a slide. Definitely let me know if you have any questions. So I told you guys before and the beginning of this that I was going to invite you to the HoneyBook Bootcamp. Okay. So the HoneyBook Bootcamp is going to be a 2-hour class. It's going to be on March 27th. It's from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. If you are interested in that class, I will put the link inside the description box below. It actually should be in the description. I'll put it in the chat, but it should be in the description of wherever you're watching this video, as well as you can also scan the QR code that I do have on the screen as well. Now, this class is going to be a live class, but if you're not able to go through and attend this class live, there will be a replay that will be available if you're not able to attend. Okay. So inside of the HoneyBook Bootcamp, I am going to show you exactly how to navigate HoneyBook. So imagine going from this class here to, we're going to 10x it when we get inside of HoneyBook, because I'm going to show you step by step of how to go through and do these things, how to go through and set up your client flow, how to actually implement templates into your workflow, how to actually go through and set up automation, and how each one of those things that we looked at of how you can use this trigger to do this and this trigger to do that. This is what we're going to do, and how you can actually go through and use forms to streamline your business. And so you can start going through and impressing your prospects and your clients, because they're going to go through and they're going to be like, wow, she has everything set up. Okay. I'm going to drop the link for that again inside of the chat if you would like to go through and join the HoneyBook Bootcamp. Now, this class, I didn't put the price of the class. This class is only $297. Only $297, where you're going to go through, and again, you're going to learn exactly how to go through and use HoneyBook in your particular business. But not only that, when you go through and join this class, you're going to get 2 weeks of private community support, where you're going to come inside of our club. It's going to be private, where you'll be able to have access to me as well as anyone else who actually joined the boot camp. You'll have access to be able to ask your questions, get feedback on any type of forms or any type of snags that you may run into while you're going through and creating and working through your HoneyBook account. You'll be able to have 2 weeks support inside of that community, as well as inside of sending us an email. email, right? But the community is going to be powerful. You'll be able to have access to send us an email at any point, pretty much, of any type of program that we host or have. But as far as the community support, where I can go in and say, hey, send me a video of what it is that you're working on, or send me a video of what you're stumped on, you'll be able to do this for 2 weeks, okay? After taking this particular class. All right. So again, if you are interested in this class, it's going to be from March 27th. It's going to be 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. There is going to be a replay that is going to be available. Okay. There is going to be a replay available. And that replay, you will have lifetime access. So kind of give you that too. You will have lifetime access to this particular replay. Okay. Now the seats for this are going to be limited. Once I get to 10 seats of this, because it's 2 hours, right? I want to be able to answer as many questions as I can in those 2 hours, as well as when we get to that 2-week time frame where we're going through and we are inside of the community portion of it, of that 2 weeks. I want to make sure that I'm helping everyone to the best that I can in that 2 weeks. So we're not looking to be able to bring on 50, 60 people. It's impossible, right? It's impossible for me to provide the support that I'm trying to provide for you using HoneyBook with that amount of people. So we are only taking 10 people in there. Yeah, so if you're going through, she said she was going through one of the videos and the links didn't work for Instagram, Facebook. Our Instagram and Facebook pages have changed. So if you were looking at from an old video, yes, those links have changed. Our Facebook, I can put those in there for you. Our Facebook link is under my name, Kaniqua J, and the Instagram is under, it's under Katie Jones CS LLC for those particular links. All right. And let me know what questions you have. If you have any questions regarding HoneyBook, let me know in the chat of, you're welcome. Let me know in the chat what questions you have, if you have any questions. Now, just to let you know too, so some of the common things that we get as far as using HoneyBook is pretty much of how long will it take for you to go through and set up your HoneyBook account, right? To totally go through and set it up. With the first 5 steps that I did go through and provide you, you can typically go through and set up those first 5 steps that I gave you over a weekend, literally. Over a weekend, especially again with me providing one of the templates for you, because each one of your services, and I think I say that in the template video, but each one of the services that you have, so let's say you have, I'm going to use myself as an example. We have website design, we have HoneyBook services, and we have business consulting. The template that I provided you with, I recommend, even if you don't have multiple services, I recommend that you go through and you actually duplicate that form, okay? You duplicate that template. You duplicate it just in case if you mess up and you're not able to, you save it and then you don't go back, you mess it up, then you can always go back to it. But you can also duplicate it because you can use that same type of brochure for each one of your different services. Like if it's completely different service offerings where you want your clients to get different offerings. Like I said, like our HoneyBook clients, they get a different brochure, they get that brochure. Our website clients, they get a different brochure. So if you want it to be totally different, I would recommend duplicating it. That way you could be able to use it multiple times on different services. So in terms of setting up those first 5 steps, that's probably just going to take you a weekend, right? If you're trying to go through and you're trying to go through and set up more automations and stuff, that's going to take you a little bit more time going through and setting it up, learning how to use it, and then going through and setting it up. But if you take it step by step and automating one thing at a time, you can definitely do it, but it's probably going to take you, I would say, more so of the week to 2 weeks time frame, depending on what exactly it is that you're trying to do. So, but when you go through the HoneyBook Bootcamp, again, we're going to go in detail of that, definitely in detail with automation, because that's one of the biggest things that people have problems with, is kind of really going through and honing down the automation. So we are going to go through and cover that in that particular class. But if you're like, okay, hey, I don't want to necessarily learn everything about HoneyBook. Like, I'd rather just go through and you do it for me. We can do that, right? We can do that. So if you want us to go through and do it, these are services that we do offer. We do offer HoneyBook audits. We will audit your HoneyBook account. So if you already have it set up and you want someone to kind of come in to look where to see where things can actually be improved, where you can go through and tweak things, where you can go through and test out and change out your automation, then we can go through and do that. And all of these can actually be booked directly from the website. The Bootcamp cannot. Full HoneyBook websites or full HoneyBook setups. If you want a full HoneyBook setup, we can also get that done for you as well, where you want us to do all the work. You want us to be able to go through and set it up for you. You want us to go through and create all of the documents for you, your invoicing, your forms. Hey, Elise, you want us to go ahead and do all of that stuff for you and create those templates and get a little bit of information from you and literally just create the whole thing for you. That's fine too. Like you're like, I don't have enough time to be able to learn and take a whole class and then have to go through and DIY it. I don't want to do the DIY route. Then we got you. Okay. And then on top of us even getting you is that we also go through and we do a video and we still walk you through how to actually do it. Because at the end of the day, our goal here is to make sure that you're empowered to be able to run your own business. So any type of service that we do for our clients, whether it is HoneyBook setups or whether it is website design, we always make sure that we equip our clients to be able to do the thing themselves. So we do it, but we will always teach you how to do it and how to make tweaks to the things that we have done for you, because don't nobody want to have to be a captive to having to go through and ask someone for help all the time if they don't want to. And then we also offer our HoneyBook VIP days. Our HoneyBook VIP days are for people that are in a hurry and you just want it done right now. You want us to get everything that we can get done for you in just one day. So we will go through and do a task of things that you give us for your HoneyBook accounts, whether that is create a template for you, create an automation for you, go through and change out any type of documents, writing components, anything like that. We give 4 hours of our time to do all of your HoneyBook tasks for you, everything that we can complete within that particular time frame. So with our HoneyBook VIP days, you're going through and you are paying for our time. You're paying for 4 hours of dedicated work to get as many tasks that we can get done for you right inside of your HoneyBook account. So these particular services that we have here, those can be booked via our website. So if you go to katiejonescs.com, and if you go to the HoneyBook page, obviously you can go through and put an inquiry and you will get that HoneyBook brochure that I gave to you guys for free. And it will allow for you to be able to go through and book your services directly from that particular form. And just going through and putting the inquiry will also allow for you to be able to see, get a little example of how we go through and we're using HoneyBook in our particular business. Okay. All right, so I appreciate you guys joining me. Again, I don't see any questions. So if you guys do so happen to have any questions along the way, or maybe you got done doing this call, I know some of you guys are just popping in here. Definitely go back and watch this replay, because it was definitely a good replay of if you're ready to go through and streamline your business, HoneyBook might actually be the thing for you. And it is a very, very, very affordable tool to be able to use. Like I said, I was able to go through and eliminate so many other tools and replace it with using HoneyBook. And if you want to try HoneyBook again and you don't have enough HoneyBook account, you can get started for free. So you can take the information that I gave you today, if you are my DIYers, and you can take the information that we went over today and DIY the project and start DIYing your account at least. And then sign up for a free trial. And you can also get 50% off your first year of HoneyBook. So those links are in the description box below as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Again, I hope to see you guys next week, because we're going to be talking about client flows next week. So if that's something that you're struggling with and you're struggling with the client flow, and then you want to know how you can possibly implement this into HoneyBook, that's where we're going to be talking about it again next week. Tuesday next week. So I'll be putting that session up here really quickly. Well, in the next couple of days. Tamika had a question. She said, I forgot to put the questions up here. I could have been did that. But Tamika said she has a quick question. Digital products on HoneyBook versus Squarespace website. Okay, so kind of like how I was mentioning before about the digital products. So HoneyBook's digital products, though this is a feature, it is a new feature. I feel like it is something that they are going to be expanding over time. I'm trying to see. Let's see if we get a good view. I think it's going to be something that they're going to be expanding over time. However, it depends on what your digital game is like. Okay. So, like I explained, like I have been selling digital products since 2017. So I have the actual LMS systems like Thinkific, right? I wouldn't put like a course for inside of like with HoneyBook. The reason for that is because with the HoneyBook as they are right now for digital products, you can only link something, right? You can only link something. You can't upload anything or anything like that. You can only link it. So you have to link it from an outside source, like from a Google Drive or from like a YouTube video or something like that. So if you have been creating digital products for a while and you already have a system and digital products is something that you strongly sell, then you may not necessarily use this HoneyBook system to be able to go through and deliver your digital products. It is a great thing to use if you're not already selling digital products and you don't want to go through and add in like another system, then it could be a great thing to use because they would download just like any other digital product. They will request it. They'll have the link, they'll request it, and then they'll get that product. But again, I guess it just depends on your stage of how you do digital products. So if you're a OG in digital products, then no, you probably would not use that for that. But if you're new to digital products, then I feel like it would be something that would be good for you to do. I actually have Blazon. I actually have a playlist that you can check out. It does depend on, I have like a virtual assistant playlist. So you could definitely check out that. If you go to playlist on our channel, I do try to break the videos up into playlists to kind of make it a little bit easier to kind of navigate different videos. But thank you for subscribing. Tamika says, okay, that's helpful. Just getting started with digital products. Okay, yeah. So if you're just getting started with digital products, I think that it would be, especially if you're a digital product that is going to be like a PDF, like a form-based, like PDF guide, something like that, you could do. Like I said, if you do videos, then you have to, the video has to be like in Google Drive. It has to be a link somewhere. So yeah. So if you're new, yeah, you could do it. As you start growing out your digital products, you probably would end up using something else a little bit more advanced. Again, their digital products for HoneyBook, they just started this year, just like within, not this year, they came out with that feature for digital products, I believe in October. So it's fairly new. I know that they more likely than not are probably going to be upgrading that and make it better. But as of now, that's how it is. But it's okay. Okay, thank you. Can't wait to get started. Awesome, awesome. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate your time and tuning in. If you haven't already, please be sure to go through, like this video. If you have a business bestie that needs this information as well, be sure to share this video with them. Subscribe to the channel because I am going to be going live every single Tuesday, at least for the next couple of months. I'm trying to be consistent here and show up live every single Tuesday. So like I said, next Tuesday, we're going to talk about client flows. To kind of map out client flow. So that one may be a little bit more, we're going to kind of get a little bit more nitty gritty on that one a little bit because we're going to try to get into it. But yeah, so just be sure that you do subscribe to this particular channel. And I will see you guys hopefully next week and next time. Oh, and again, don't forget to go through if you want to join the Just Launching Networking Club. So the networking club is free. Okay. So some of you guys like Blazon, you said that you're new, you're just starting your business and you want to know about really starting a business. That club might be the perfect fit for you because it is for our consultants, creative service providers that need support in starting their businesses. So definitely feel free to join that. Blazon and anyone else, obviously, that's on the live or coming in on the replay. Coming on a replay. I'm gonna start it here. So that should actually go to the top. Okay. All right. And then if you do want to go through and you do want to join the boot camp, the HoneyBook Bootcamp, the link is also in the description box where you're going through and watching that video. It's going to kick off on March 26th. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys joining me. I'm going to go ahead and close this out for now. And I will see you guys again next week. All right. See you guys later.